On the night of September 15, 2010, the Beaumont Hotel in Beaumont, Texas, sat quietly under a heavy sky, humid, still, the kind of air that feels tense without explanation. Most guests had settled into their rooms, preparing for another working day. But behind one of those doors, room 348, a secret waited. A secret that would confuse investigators, baffle medical experts, and spark one of the strangest forensic puzzles the state had ever seen. This is the real-life mystery of Gregory Alan Fleniken, a man found dead in his hotel room with no signs of struggle, no wounds, no forced entry, and yet a cause of death that should have been impossible. Tonight, we walk you through the case step by step, revealing what investigators learned piece by piece until the truth finally cracked open. Welcome to Beyond Dark Secrets. The discovery. Room 348 was booked under the name Gregory Fleniken, a 55-year-old project manager from Houston. He was a quiet man, routine-driven, responsible, not known for trouble, conflict, or anything that might draw danger. On this particular night, he had microwaved a snack, turned on the television, settled into bed, and texted his wife, Susie, "I'm in for the night. Love you." Nothing unusual, nothing ominous. But the next morning, when Gregory failed to attend his scheduled work meeting, colleagues grew concerned. A hotel staff member was eventually asked to check on him. She knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Silence. So she used the master key. Inside, Gregory lay on the floor, face up, between the foot of the bed and the wall. His body was cold. Rigor mortis had set in. But there was no blood, no disturbance, no sign of a fight, no disarray. His wallet was in his pocket. His phone was on the nightstand. The door had been locked from the inside. A death that looked, if anything, like a heart attack. The paramedics reported no visible trauma. The police agreed. And the medical examiner? At first glance, he also leaned toward a natural death. But Greg's wife disagreed. She later told investigators, Greg wasn't sick. He wasn't weak. And he wasn't the type to just fall over. She pushed for deeper answers. And what those answers revealed would defy logic. The autopsy, the first impossibility. When the autopsy began, the medical examiner expected to confirm a heart-related death. But when he opened the torso, what he saw made him pause. And said there was blood pooling in the abdominal cavity, internal organs bruised, tears in tissues that should never tear naturally, extreme trauma to the internal lining. The examiner stepped back and said quietly to the assistant, "Something hit this man. Hard." But here was the impossible part. Gregory had no external injuries. Not a bruise. Not a cut. Not a scratch. Not even redness. It was as if he had been beaten from the inside, but untouched from the outside. This didn't match any known medical pattern. So investigators were called in again. The scene revisited. Detectives stood in room 348 reviewing the scene for the second time. Everything was normal. Food on the counter. TV remote on the bed. Shoes neatly placed by the door. Wallet and room key untouched. Door deadbolt from the inside. One detective noted, "There's no way someone came in here and beat him without leaving a mark. It's not physically possible." And yet the autopsy said otherwise. Something violent had occurred. Something powerful. Something that should have left clear external damage, but didn't. This contradiction became the first major red flag. The kind of red flag that turns a simple death into a deep mystery. Witnesses and hotel activity. So investigators began interviewing guests on the third floor. One man in room 349, next door to Greg, said he heard nothing but normal TV noise. Another man across the hall said, "I heard some loud voices late in the evening. Guys talking, sounded rowdy." On the night of Greg's death, a crew of oil field workers had checked into room 349, the room directly beside his. They were young, loud, and known to drink. The manager on duty remembered them clearly. One detective described them as the kind of guys who make their presence known. But none of them admitted hearing or seeing anything unusual. Still, investigators weren't convinced. Something about the timeline and the trauma just didn't feel like natural death. The second autopsy. Susie insisted on a second opinion, and forensic expert Dr. Stephen Pustilnik was brought in. Dr. Pustilnik was experienced, sharp, and not easily misled. When he examined Gregory's internal injuries, he said quietly, "This is blunt force trauma. This man was struck. But hit with what? And how could the force be strong enough to rupture organs, but gentle enough to not bruise skin?" It wasn't adding up. It wasn't adding up at all. The breakthrough question. While reviewing the scene photos, Dr. Pustilnik asked, "What was behind the wall where he died?" The investigators looked at each other. Greg was found lying against a wall that separated room 348 from room 349. Behind that wall was the oil field crew. Walls in hotels are thin, very thin. And that sparked a question. Could something from next door have entered Greg's room? At first, that sounded ridiculous. But once they opened the wall, the answer became clear. The discovery behind the wall. When investigators removed a section of drywall from room 349, they found a hole and an impact point directly in line with where Gregory's body had been found on the opposite side. Then they found something else. A metal projectile, flattened, jagged, and hidden in insulation. It wasn't a bullet. It wasn't shrapnel. It wasn't a knife. It was part of a propelled object, shattered from impact. Investigators looked at each other in disbelief. Something had been launched through the wall, caused enormous internal damage, then bounced away leaving no external injury. What object could do that? What weapon could send something through a hotel wall, silently, without a gunshot? The answer was disturbing. The truth finally emerges. The oil field workers in room 349 had been drinking heavily. One of them, a young man showing off, had a large handgun loaded with frangible bullets. Frangible bullets are designed to disintegrate on impact, reducing ricochet. They break apart on hard surfaces like walls. But on soft tissue, they behave like a normal bullet. Investigators concluded this sequence. One of the workers fired the gun inside room 349. The bullet went through the wall. It struck Gregory. The frangible material shattered inside him, doing massive internal damage. But on the outside, it left no mark. After lodging fragments inside Gregory, the remaining metal pieces bounced into insulation and disappeared. The men heard nothing from next door. They saw nothing, and they assumed nothing had happened. Gregory died slowly, confused, in pain, alone, without ever knowing what struck him. A man who had simply been watching TV and eating a snack. A man who did nothing wrong. A man killed by a bullet he never saw. The arrest and aftermath. Once the truth came to light, the shooter, Maurice "Rico" Myers, was arrested and charged. He claimed he had no idea the bullet went through the wall. He thought it hit furniture. He thought nothing of it. A careless moment. A show-off act. A split-second decision that cost an innocent man his life. Greg's family received answers, but not comfort. And to this day, forensic experts still use this case as an example of how evidence can hide in plain sight, how frangible ammunition behaves, and how an impossible death can sometimes have a painfully simple explanation. The lesson in room 348. The death of Gregory Fleniken remains a chilling reminder that not every mystery has an obvious villain. Not every crime scene looks like a crime. Sometimes, the walls between us are far thinner than we think. A random bullet, a silent shot, a man alone in a room, unaware of the danger inches away. Investigators originally called it impossible. But the truth was simply hidden behind drywall. And the story of room 348 stays with anyone who hears it, not because of sensationalism, but because of the quiet, tragic randomness of it all. If this case has drawn you in, then you're in the right place. Because on Beyond Dark Secrets, every story reveals another shadow, another piece of truth the world tried to forget. Each week, we bring you new cases, shocking revelations, and dark truths that will keep you questioning everything. Don't miss the next story. Subscribe. Stay curious. And remember, the darkest secrets are often hiding in the quietest rooms.